Welcome to Beyond the Spotlight. I'm Patricia. Today, we take a quiet moment to reflect on the lives of those remarkable souls who once shined so brightly among us. Their passion, artistry, and spirit touched countless hearts. As we remember them, we celebrate the beauty they shared with the world, a legacy that will forever echo through time. Daryl Sheets, best known for his memorable role on Storage Wars, has reportedly passed away at 67. He was found at a residence in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, on April 22nd, and authorities say the circumstances surrounding his death remain under investigation. Sheets spent more than 3 decades working in storage auctions, where his bold bidding style earned him the nickname, the Gambler. When Storage Wars premiered in 2010, his larger-than-life personality and knack for spotting valuable items quickly made him a standout. Viewers enjoyed watching him take chances on forgotten storage units, never knowing what might be waiting inside. Away from the spotlight, family was an important part of Sheets's life. He shared a close bond with his son Brandon, who worked alongside him and appeared on the show. Sheets leaves behind a memorable legacy built on determination, risk-taking, and a genuine passion for the auction business. His personality and stories made him a familiar face to reality TV fans for many years. Dylan Carter stepped into the spotlight with a quiet confidence and a voice that instantly caught everyone's attention. During his blind audition, he spoke honestly about how much it would mean to see Reba McEntire turn her chair. Then, in a moment he could hardly believe, every coach turned for him. Seeing Reba, John Legend, Niall Horan, and Gwen Stefani facing him felt like a dream come true. For Dylan, music was deeply connected to his family, especially his late mother, who always encouraged him to chase his dreams. After several unsuccessful attempts, he finally earned his place, carrying her memory with him. He chose to work with Reba and continued growing as an artist throughout his time on the show. Though his journey was short, his performances made a genuine impact. Dylan's story is ultimately about perseverance, love, and staying true to yourself. His warmth, sincerity, and passion for music left a lasting impression on everyone who heard him sing. Jerry Conway was one of the writers who helped give superhero comics a more human side. Born in New York City in 1952, Conway entered professional comics while still very young and quickly made a name for himself at Marvel. He became especially known for stories that showed heroes dealing with real emotions, difficult choices, and lasting consequences. His work on Spider-Man became particularly memorable, especially the storyline surrounding Gwen Stacy, which showed readers that even beloved characters could face heartbreaking changes. Conway also co-created The Punisher, adding a very different kind of character to the superhero world. Beyond comics, he worked in television as a writer and producer, showing his storytelling skills in different formats. Conway passed away in April 2026 at the age of 73. Although he often worked away from the spotlight, his influence remains clear. His stories helped make superhero comics more emotional, mature, and relatable, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire readers and creators today. Josh Marrow was remembered as a disciplined athlete, a dependable teammate, and a man who cared deeply about faith and family. Born in England and raised in Texas, he developed a passion for football at a young age and eventually earned an opportunity to play at Stanford. After going undrafted in 2014, Marrow continued working toward his NFL dream, spending time with several teams and building a reputation as a hard-working defensive lineman. Over the course of his career, he appeared in numerous games and earned the respect of teammates and coaches through his consistency and team-first attitude. Away from football, those close to him described him as a loving son, brother, and uncle who valued the people around him. Marrow passed away at the age of 35 in April 2026. His family confirmed the heartbreaking news, while the circumstances surrounding his passing have remained private. Tributes from the football community reflected the impact he had on those who knew him. His story remains one of perseverance, character, and dedication, both on and off the field. Mary Rivera, the beloved actress who made a memorable appearance in Spider-Man: No Way Home, has died at the age of 82. Rivera passed away on April 15, 2026, in Honolulu, and news of her death was announced this week. Although she had never worked professionally as an actress before, Rivera instantly won over audiences with her warm and natural performance as Ned's Lola, or grandmother. In one of the film's light-hearted moments, her character notices the webs left behind in her living room and simply wants Spider-Man to clean up the mess. It was a short scene, but Rivera's genuine charm made it stand out. What makes her story even more special is that Spider-Man: No Way Home was her very first movie role. Rivera's unexpected appearance became one of those small but memorable moments that fans continue to appreciate. She may have only had a brief part, but her personality and heartfelt performance left a lasting impression on viewers around the world. Phil Garner, better known as Scrap Iron, built his baseball career on toughness, determination, and an unwillingness to back down. Born on April 30, 1949, in Jefferson City, he developed his skills at the University of Tennessee before reaching the major leagues with the Oakland Athletics in 1973. Garner became especially remembered for his time with the Pittsburgh Pirates, helping the team win the 1979 World Series with his steady play and leadership. Over a 16-season MLB career, he appeared in more than 1,800 games and earned 3 All-Star selections. After retiring as a player, Garner found another role in baseball as a manager. His biggest achievement came in 2005, when he led the Houston Astros to their first World Series appearance. Beyond the statistics, Garner was admired for his work ethic, competitive spirit, and leadership. His Scrap Iron nickname perfectly captured the grit and determination that defined both his career and his lasting place in baseball history. Actor Tom Liane, known for his work across television and film, died in June 2026 in New York City at the age of 85. He is being remembered by audiences for a career that included memorable appearances on both the small and big screens. Liane had a recurring role on The Young and the Restless during the 1970s and 1980s, where he played Lucas' apprentice. His television work helped establish him as a familiar face during a period when the long-running daytime drama was growing a devoted audience. Beyond television, Liane also appeared in several notable films, including Paint Your Wagon, Bang the Drum Slowly, and Jump. While he may not have always been the central figure on screen, his performances added character and depth to the productions he joined. His passing marks the loss of a seasoned performer whose work spanned decades and left a lasting impression on viewers and fellow members of the entertainment community. For more than 5 decades, America watched Marie Osmond smile. She sang, danced, performed beneath bright lights, built businesses, raised a large family, and became one of the most recognizable entertainers of her generation. To millions, she represented talent, discipline, family, faith, and an almost impossible kind of perfection. But the woman behind that famous smile was carrying wounds the cameras rarely saw. Her childhood disappeared before she was old enough to understand what childhood meant. At 3, she was already performing. At 13, she was a recording star. By 20, she had achieved extraordinary fame, yet had already surrendered years she could never recover. The applause continued, but so did the pressure. Her body became a source of relentless criticism. Marriage brought disappointment. Motherhood brought a darkness so severe that she struggled simply to get through the day. Then, in 2010, the unimaginable happened when her son Michael died by suicide. Grief changed her forever, yet Marie kept moving, not because she was untouched by pain, but because she learned that survival does not always look heroic. Sometimes it looks like getting out of bed, telling the truth, asking for help, and choosing another day. Her story is not about perfection. It is about everything that perfection tried to hide. Born into show business, Marie Osmond was born Olive Marie Osmond on October 13, 1959, in Ogden, Utah, into a family where entertainment was already becoming a way of life. Her brothers Alan, Wayne, Merrill, Jay, and Donnie were performing professionally, guided by their father, George Osmond, whose approach to the family business was disciplined and demanding. For Marie, entering show business was not a childhood dream she gradually discovered. It was simply the environment into which she was born. At only 3 years old, she was appearing on stage alongside her brothers, surrounded by music, costumes, rehearsals, and audiences. She grew up understanding that performance required precision and that mistakes were not easily tolerated. Being the only girl among 9 children added another layer of expectation. Her family's Mormon upbringing emphasized faith, modesty, family, and responsibility, while public life demanded an image that could withstand constant scrutiny. There was little room for ordinary teenage rebellion or private uncertainty. Marie learned to smile even when she was tired and to perform even when she wanted to stop. Years later, she would describe the feeling of never being allowed simply to be a child. Before she could understand the machinery of fame, she had already become part of it, and the world was about to make her famous far faster than she was prepared to understand. Paper Roses. In 1973, everything changed. At just 13 years old, Marie released Paper Roses, a country song that became a major crossover success. It reached #1 on the country charts and entered the upper levels of the pop charts, establishing Marie as a performer independent of her famous brothers. Suddenly, she was no longer simply Donnie Osmond's younger sister. She was a star with an identity of her own. Yet success brought an extraordinary burden for someone still in her early teens. While other teenagers were worrying about homework, friendships, first dates, and school dances, Marie was recording music, traveling, rehearsing, appearing on television, and learning how to behave like a professional adult. Her life became organized around schedules rather than ordinary teenage experiences. In 1976, the launch of Donnie and Marie made her even more famous. The television show transformed the siblings into household names, with millions watching their songs, comedy, choreography, and guest appearances. Marie's wholesome image became part of American pop culture. Dolls, merchandise, magazines, and television appearances reinforced the idea that she was the cheerful girl next door who seemed to have everything under control. But maintaining that image required enormous effort. The work week was relentless, privacy was nearly non-existent, and adults constantly evaluated her appearance. The smile became part of the job, and eventually, Marie began struggling to recognize where the performer ended and the real woman began. Marriage and motherhood. In 1982, Marie married her first husband, Stephen Craig, when she was 22. She entered marriage with the same determination she had brought to her career, embracing the family-centered values she had been raised with. But the marriage ended in divorce in 1985. For Marie, the breakup carried emotional weight far beyond the end of a relationship. She had grown up with strong expectations surrounding marriage and family, and divorce could feel like a personal and public failure. She later described the sense that she had disappointed people who expected her life to remain perfect. In 1986, she married Brian Blosel, beginning another chapter that would include a large family. Together, they raised 8 children, including biological and adopted children. Motherhood became deeply important to Marie, but it also added another enormous responsibility to an already demanding life. She continued working while raising her children, moving between recording sessions, television appearances, performances, business commitments, and family obligations. She often appeared to manage everything effortlessly. The reality was much less polished. Marie was constantly exhausted and under pressure to prove she could succeed everywhere at once. Her identity became divided between entertainer and mother, with both roles demanding complete devotion. Yet beneath the achievements, emotional strain continued building. The woman America saw smiling on television was carrying responsibilities that few people outside her family could fully understand. The darkness. In 1999, Marie gave birth to her 7th child, Matthew. Instead of experiencing only the happiness she believed motherhood was supposed to bring, she found herself entering a terrifying emotional darkness. She later described feeling disconnected from her newborn and overwhelmed by an emptiness she could not understand. The exhaustion was profound, but the emotional pain went deeper. Marie experienced postpartum depression, a condition that can affect mothers after childbirth, but was still surrounded by enormous misunderstanding and stigma. For someone raised to see motherhood as one of life's highest responsibilities, feeling unable to experience the expected joy created crushing guilt. She tried to conceal what was happening. Publicly, she continued smiling and presenting the image of a grateful mother. Privately, even basic daily responsibilities could feel impossible. Her darkest moments included thoughts about ending her life. She later explained that she did not necessarily want to die. She desperately wanted the pain to stop. Eventually, she sought professional help through therapy and medication and began learning that her suffering was an illness rather than a moral failure. Recovery took time. It was uneven and painful, but she gradually regained stability and rebuilt her connection with her son. In 2001, she published Behind the Smile, sharing her experience with postpartum depression. Her decision transformed private suffering into public advocacy and gave countless other women permission to admit they were struggling too. Fighting her body, Marie's emotional battle was accompanied by another conflict that had followed her since adolescence: her relationship with her body. From her earliest television years, she had been taught that weight could influence whether she was considered attractive, marketable, or successful. That lesson became deeply embedded in her thinking. She tried diets, restrictions, intense exercise, and repeated attempts to control her weight. Each temporary success could be followed by frustration when the weight returned. Instead of seeing her body as something deserving care, she often viewed it as a problem that needed fixing. In 2007, after gaining weight following pregnancies, Marie became a spokesperson for Nutrisystem and publicly documented a significant weight loss. She lost around 50 pounds and was praised for her transformation. Yet the attention also reinforced the very pressure that had troubled her for years. The world celebrated a smaller body, while the deeper emotional relationship with food and appearance remained complicated. Marie continued confronting the cycle of shame and control. Eventually, as she grew older, her perspective began to change. She started questioning the idea that her worth should be measured by a number on a scale. Instead of constantly pursuing an impossible standard, she began speaking about self-acceptance and the years she had lost to body criticism. Looking back, she expressed regret that she had spent so much of her life believing she was never thin enough or good enough. Her greatest lesson was painfully simple. The body she had spent decades fighting was never her enemy. Losing Michael, then came the loss that changed everything. On February 26, 2010, Marie's son Michael Blosel died by suicide at the age of 24. Michael, whom Marie had adopted as an infant, had struggled with depression, a battle his mother understood all too well. She had tried to support him through therapy, treatment, and emotional hardship, but depression can overwhelm even the strongest networks of love and support. Michael's death left Marie facing a kind of grief for which no preparation exists. She was performing in Las Vegas with Donnie when she received the devastating news. The shock was immediate, followed by questions that grief cannot answer. Could she have noticed something? Could she have done more? Could one conversation have changed the outcome? She would later emphasize that suicide leaves survivors carrying questions that may never disappear. Yet she also refused to hide the reality of what happened. Marie returned to performing relatively soon afterward, not because she had recovered, but because the stage provided structure when everything else felt unbearable. She could sing while grieving, she could smile while her heart was breaking, but behind the performances, the absence was everywhere. Birthdays, holidays, family gatherings, and ordinary moments became reminders of the future Michael would never experience. Marie transformed some of her grief into advocacy, speaking openly about depression and suicide prevention, and supporting organizations dedicated to mental health awareness. She understood that she could not bring her son back, but perhaps she could help another family recognize suffering before it became irreversible. Learning to survive after Michael's death, Marie discovered that grief does not follow a schedule. The world expects life to continue, and eventually, the phone stops ringing with condolences, but the person who died remains missing every day. Marie continued working, raising her children, performing, and appearing in public, yet grief traveled with her. There were moments when a song, a memory, or an ordinary family event could suddenly reopen the wound. She learned that strength was not the absence of sadness. Strength was carrying sadness without allowing it to erase everything else. Her openness about mental health became increasingly important. Because she had already spoken publicly about postpartum depression, she understood the power of replacing shame with honesty. Michael's death deepened that conviction. She supported organizations such as the National Alliance on Mental Illness and the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and continued encouraging people to seek professional help when depression becomes overwhelming. Her advocacy was not abstract. It came from the deepest pain of her life. Marie also continued rebuilding her relationship with herself. She began questioning the old belief that she had to be perfect to deserve love. The entertainer who once believed every emotion had to remain hidden gradually became more willing to admit vulnerability. She could acknowledge that some days were difficult, that grief could return without warning, and that healing did not mean forgetting. Her life after Michael became less about maintaining an image and more about accepting reality. For perhaps the first time, Marie was allowing herself to be a human being rather than a performance. The cost of applause. Looking across Marie Osmond's life, the pattern becomes difficult to ignore. Fame arrived before she had the opportunity to decide whether she wanted it. Success gave her money, recognition, opportunities, and a career spanning generations, but it also demanded pieces of her private life. Childhood disappeared into rehearsals. Adolescence became a professional schedule. Her appearance became public property. Marriage became part of the image. Motherhood became another responsibility to perfect. Even vulnerability had to be managed carefully, because millions of people expected Marie to remain cheerful. Yet her greatest transformation came when she stopped pretending that survival required perfection. The woman who had once hidden exhaustion behind a smile began speaking about depression, body image, grief, family struggles, and the realities of mental health. That honesty arguably became more powerful than any television performance. Marie's story also exposes the contradiction at the center of celebrity culture. Audiences often want stars to appear extraordinary, but extraordinary people remain human. They become tired, they make mistakes, their relationships fail, their bodies change, they experience illness, grief, and fear. Marie spent decades being celebrated for looking as though nothing could break her. Eventually, she understood that being broken by life did not make her weak, it made her real. The applause could never protect her from suffering, but neither could suffering erase everything she had built. Her greatest achievement was not maintaining perfection, it was surviving the moments when perfection became impossible. Still standing today, Marie Osmond's legacy reaches far beyond the image of the smiling teenager who once sang Paper Roses. She is a performer, businesswoman, mother, author, and advocate whose life has unfolded publicly for more than half a century. But the most meaningful part of her story may be what happened away from the spotlight. She survived the loss of childhood, the pressure of celebrity, years of body criticism, the collapse of a marriage, the overwhelming demands of motherhood, postpartum depression, and the devastating death of her son. None of those experiences can be erased by success. They remain part of the woman she became. Marie once built her public identity around appearing to have everything under control. Over time, she learned something more valuable. Life does not have to be controlled perfectly to be worth living. Healing can be messy, grief can return, confidence can disappear and return again. A person can fall apart and still rebuild. Her famous smile, therefore, means something different now. It is no longer simply the polished expression of an entertainer trying to satisfy an audience. It can represent survival. It can represent choosing to continue when continuing feels impossible. Marie Osmond was introduced to America as a child who was expected to perform. Decades later, she remains standing as a woman who finally learned that she did not have to perform every moment of her life. The greatest victory was never perfection, it was refusing to give up.